from The Art of Creating, and today I have another Stash Busters video for you. This month we are challenging ourselves to use ribbon or twine. So I have decided to try and do something different with it, and I was inspired by a paper I had a while ago, and I can't remember which one it was. It might have been by Create Paper, but basically it was strips of patterns on the side of the paper printed onto it as a background pattern, just different colors and things like that in a bit of a like a brick pattern. And I decided to replicate that with ribbon. So I wanted to stick to a couple of colors just so that it's not too busy, and I have chosen aqua blue and pink, so in different shades and different patterns, but sticking to those two color schemes and also adding a bit of neutral. I quite like how grey looks with pink, so I've used grey for my neutral. Here I'm just going through and cutting off pieces of the ribbons that I have from my stash that I have selected for the project, and I have cut off a strip of white cardstock to use as a base for it to glue it down, so that I wouldn't have to glue it directly onto my page. That way I can move it around a little bit and have a bit of flexibility. And also if I've got a bit of white showing from the background, it kind of helps it stand out from the actual busy background paper as well. To make the process a lot quicker and easier, I have used some wide double-sided tape, and this is the strong red tape. I find for ribbon I need to use something really strong, otherwise the normal tape doesn't really hold it that well. So once I've had that down, I'm just going through my patterns and randomly selecting the pieces, trying to vary the colors and the types of ribbons, the different patterns, so that I don't have the same pieces next to each other and the same colors next to each other, so that I've got a bit of a variation there. And where I've got really bright colors like the pink and that teal blue, I try to put those in a couple of places to create a bit of a visual triangle as well. I've added that pink flower type ribbon on top of it, and that is going to be used as my embellishment cluster, which I will show you later in the layout. Here I have selected my photo and some papers from, I think it's Hello Love by Create Paper. So I've used a few scrap pieces from the 6x6 paper pad as well as the 12x12, and also a couple of random scraps of paper that just match the colors. And I've just selected a few pieces and am going to use them for layering behind the photo. I've cut this XOXO cut apart in half so that I could stretch it a little bit and have it peeking out from the top and the bottom of the photo, as it wasn't wide enough or long enough to just go behind it by itself. And that's a cheat way of doing it. You can just cut it in half and put it behind the photo, and no one will ever know that it's not the actual piece that stretches out the whole length. Just working on my layers, selecting a few patterns. Here I'm doing the same with the hearts paper, just cut it in half and added it to the top and the bottom of the photo, because a 6x6 paper wouldn't have been long enough to go the whole length. And I've cut off a little bit from the corner of this paper, just as I was thinking I was going to use it for more layering, but I didn't end up using it, but that's okay. A piece of blue cardstock that I just had lying around, and another bit of cut apart here that I'm not actually going to use as it's intended to be with the word on it, but I'm just using it as a layer. I've cut out a couple of those tags from the cut apart sheet as well, and I was trying hard to find a placement for both of them on the side there, but it just wasn't working, so I'm going to use the black stripe one and cover the words on it with a camera that I have cut out from that same cut apart sheet as well. And the other tag and the heart I'm going to use underneath the photo. Just popping it up with some dimensional foam adhesive to give it a bit more lift and dimension off the page. And that heart is going to find a place underneath the photo there. I like how it looks there, but it needed something else. It looked a little bit lonely there sitting by itself, so I was trying to find something to add to it, and I found that other tag that I couldn't find a spot for before. So I've decided that I need to add holes to those tags, and of course I have already glued one of them down, but that's okay. That crocodile is a really good tool. It cuts through chipboard really easily, so if anyone makes mini albums and things like that, that is a perfect hole punch because it is very strong and durable, and it just cuts really well. So I wanted to dress up the pink tag a little bit with that ribbon, which you will see in a minute. Before I do that, I'm going to add some twine to both of these tags and start gluing things down. So I wanted to bring the ribbon from the right side of the page a little bit to the main left side, and I've just put it down the bottom of the tag to bring out a little bit more blue, and that also creates a visual triangle as there is a lot of blue on the right, a lot of blue on the left, and now I'm adding it to the bottom of the page. Popping up the heart with some dimensional foam adhesive as well, and going to do just a tiny bit of journaling onto the tag. Basically just a note. I wanted to do a bit more journaling, but by the time I've placed on my embellishments, I didn't really have any room left, and the photo is kind of self-explanatory anyway, so I didn't feel I needed to really make room for journaling. If I really wanted to try and fit it, what I could have done is add a tag as like a hidden journaling tag behind the photo, and that could have been another element and also a place for journaling. I'm adding some pearls as a bit of an accent on the page, and I've chosen initially the green ones to bring out a bit of sparkle from the shiny glitter ribbon that I've used on the right hand side in a couple of spots there, and also some white pearls to balance off the green and add a bit of neutral to it. And I've added a few of those pearls into the centers of the flowers on the flower ribbon on the right hand side. That ribbon is going to be like another embellishment cluster to create the visual triangle around the photo. I've also picked out some pink pearls and added them as well. And at this point I was thinking that something was missing on the page and I couldn't work out what it was, and then I finally realized that I was actually missing a title. I don't always do titles, especially if it's a mixed media page. I won't necessarily put a title on, but this layout did need something extra. So I have chosen some pink, light pink letters, and they match the pink ribbon that I have used. And then some white clear stickers by Mambi, and I've spelled shot with those stickers. I didn't have a T, so you can see I'm doing a bit of a surgery here on a number 1. I have cut off a little tail, flipped it upside down, and there you go, I have a T. And then as I was flipping through the booklet, that booklet has a few different fonts of white clear stickers, as well as some white words, or like white clear phrases, and I decided that they would be perfect for this layout as well, and I'm glad I used them and I actually remembered that I had them, because they add an extra layer of texture and just an extra something to the page without actually adding any color or overwhelming the page with anything extra, just a subtle touch that does make a difference. And I thought I still need something, so I've remembered I had some brands which I always forget to use, but as I was looking for things for this layout, I have come across them, and I thought this would be a perfect opportunity to use it. I actually wanted to use buttons because ribbons, twine, button kind of go together, but I'm currently in the process of moving my craft room to a new house, and buttons have unfortunately already left to the new place, and I didn't have any left. So I've decided to use the next best thing is the brands. In this left hand side where you saw me put that green button or green blue button, it had a lot of paper layers, so the prongs wouldn't go through the paper. So I have actually broken them off, which is quite easy to do. You just pull them out and wiggle them a bit until they come off. And then I just put some dimensional adhesive on the back of it, a couple of layers of the skinny foam dots, and you just use it as a button. So I've added those to 3 of my embellishment clusters, and that also creates a visual triangle, and basically that is my final touch for the page. I hope you enjoyed this video, and be sure to check out the rest of the videos in this YouTube hub. This is our monthly YouTube hub where we challenge ourselves to use our stash creatively, so I'll link all of the other videos in the description box below. If you've got any questions, leave me a comment, and I will see you in the next video. Thanks for watching, bye!